Have you ever wondered why anal sex remains such a sensitive topic, even though it's an increasingly common practice? The truth is that without necessary precautions, this experience can pose serious health risks. But don't worry, with the right guidance, it can be made safe and pleasurable. I'll share essential information that every practitioner should know, based on years of research and clinical experience. After all, knowledge and preparation are fundamental for a healthy, intimate life. The anatomy involved in anal sex goes far beyond what many imagine. It's not just a simple act, but a complex set of structures that need to be thoroughly understood. The anus is not a simple entrance, but an intricate muscular system composed mainly of the anal sphincter, responsible for controlling the opening and closing of this region. The anal sphincter functions as an intelligent gateway of our body, with circular muscles that can relax and contract. This relaxation capability is fundamental for any safe anal sexual practice. Unlike the vagina, the anal mucosa is extremely sensitive and delicate, with a unique tissue composition that requires special care. The prostate, known as the male G-spot, also deserves attention in this region. Located near the rectum, this structure can provide intense sensations when properly stimulated. However, this stimulation requires knowledge, technique, and most importantly, respect for bodily sensations. Mental relaxation plays a role as important as physical relaxation in this practice. Anxieties, fears, and tensions can cause muscles to contract involuntarily, making any penetration not only uncomfortable, but potentially painful. Psychological. Preparation is therefore as crucial as physical preparation. Understanding this anatomy means respecting the limits of one's own body. Each person has a unique sensitivity, and what works for one may not work for another. Communication between partners becomes essential, expressing discomfort, pausing when necessary, and maintaining an empathic connection during the act. Detailed knowledge of these structures serves not only to increase pleasure, but mainly to ensure safety. Understanding how the body works allows people to make more conscious decisions, reducing risks of injuries or trauma during anal sexual practices. Sexual anatomy should not be viewed as something mechanical or purely technical, but as a territory of discovery, respect, and intimate connection. Each body tells a unique story, and understanding its nuances is the first step toward a healthy and pleasurable sexual experience. Risk of injuries. The importance of lubrication and proper techniques. The anal mucosa presents a unique characteristic in its composition, making it extremely vulnerable to possible trauma during sexual practices. Unlike other body membranes, this delicate tissue does not produce natural lubrication, which significantly increases the potential for injuries without appropriate care. Lubricants are not just a complement, but an essential element to ensure safety and comfort. There are different types of lubricants, each with specific characteristics that can directly impact the sexual experience. Water-based lubricants are generally the most versatile and safe, compatible with condoms and intimate toys, providing smooth gliding and reducing friction. The application of lubricant requires technique and attention. It's not enough to just apply a small amount. It's essential to completely cover the area, ensuring a uniform layer that protects against microlesions. During practice, replenishing, the lubricant becomes crucial, as constant friction can quickly reduce its initial effectiveness. The absence of adequate lubrication can result in serious consequences. Microtraumas in anal tissue can facilitate the entry of pathogens, increasing risks of infections and transmission of sexually transmitted diseases. Additionally, injuries can cause prolonged discomfort, bleeding, and even more complex problems related to anal sphincter function. The choice of lubricant should also consider individual sensitivity. Some individuals may present allergic reactions to certain components, making it essential to conduct tests beforehand and be attentive to any sign of irritation. Gradual penetration techniques complement the use of lubricant. Slow movements, with pauses for muscle relaxation, can minimize risks of injuries. Constant communication between partners allows necessary adjustments, ensuring that both are comfortable and safe. Physical and emotional preparation transcends the use of lubricant. Controlled breathing, a welcoming environment, and availability to stop at any moment are elements that contribute to a healthy and pleasurable sexual experience. Understanding the risks doesn't mean creating barriers, but promoting a conscious and respectful approach to sexuality. Knowledge about lubrication and proper techniques transforms potentially risky practices into safe and gratifying moments of intimacy. Sexually transmitted infections. When we talk about sexually transmitted infections in the context of anal sex, we enter a territory where caution needs to be absolute. The numbers are clear and concerning. Anal practices present a significantly higher risk of disease transmission compared to other sexual modalities. The anatomical structure of the rectum directly contributes to this vulnerability. The mucosa of this region has a greater number of cells susceptible to the entry of viruses and bacteria. The lymphoid tissue present in the area facilitates the absorption of pathogens, making infections more likely during anal sexual practice. HIV, hepatitis B and C stand out in this scenario. The probability of transmission of these diseases increases considerably when proper preventive care is not taken. A correctly used condom emerges as the main ally in this protection, drastically reducing the risks of contagion. Regular STI testing is not just a recommendation, but an act of responsibility to oneself and partners. Many of these infections can be asymptomatic, circulating silently without visible manifestations. This characteristic further increases the importance of periodic examinations. The quality of the condom also deserves special attention. Opting for certified brands, checking the expiration date, and ensuring proper storage are fundamental steps for its effectiveness. Correct use, covering the entire length of the penis before any contact, becomes crucial. Some health professionals recommend the use of condoms with specific lubricant for anal practices, offering additional protection. The differentiated thickness of these condoms can provide greater safety against possible ruptures. More than numbers and statistics, we're talking about health, respect for one's own body and for the partner's body. Each decision made with awareness represents a step toward a safer and more pleasurable sexual life. Sexual education continues to be our best prevention tool. Knowing the risks, understanding the forms of transmission, and adopting safe practices doesn't mean limiting pleasure, but enhancing it with responsibility and care. Bacterial flora and hygiene. The bacterial flora present in the rectum represents a complex universe of microorganisms that, if not properly managed, can trigger significant health problems. The proximity between the anus and vagina makes this region extremely sensitive to possible cross-contaminations, transforming hygiene into a critical element for safe sexual practices. Bacteria such as Escherichia coli, naturally present in the intestine, can cause urinary and vaginal infections when inadequately transported. The direct transfer of microorganisms from the anus to the vagina can provoke cases of bacterial urethritis, an extremely uncomfortable condition and potentially dangerous for female sexual health. Prevention of these complications doesn't demand complex procedures, but attention and basic care. Correct cleaning between different sexual practices emerges as a fundamental strategy. Using water and neutral soap, performing unidirectional movements from the genital region backward significantly minimizes risks of contamination. Specialists recommend a time interval between anal and vaginal practices, allowing any microorganisms not to be directly transferred. This pause doesn't need to be long, but should be sufficient to perform adequate hygiene and change condoms, ensuring a safer environment for both partners. Personal hygiene goes beyond the sexual moment. Keeping nails short, avoiding abrupt manipulations, and being attentive to any sign of discomfort are complementary strategies to reduce risks. Open communication between partners about health and hygiene issues becomes as important as physical care. Many people are unaware of the risks associated with the lack of basic care during sexual practices. Misinformation can lead to serious consequences that could be easily avoided with knowledge and attention. Each human body possesses a unique microbiology, and respecting this individuality means adopting practices that protect sexual health. Responsibility for sexual well-being doesn't fall exclusively on one of the partners but should be shared. Understanding the mechanisms of bacterial transmission, valuing hygiene, and maintaining a proactive posture are essential elements for a healthy and pleasurable sexual life. Potential complications. Anal sex can present potential complications that need to be carefully understood. Among the main risks are injuries to the anal sphincter, an extremely delicate muscular structure responsible for evacuation control. Any damage in this region can result in fecal incontinence, an extremely embarrassing condition that significantly impacts quality of life. Identifying early signs of sphincter injury is fundamental. Persistent pain, bleeding, difficulty in sphincter control, or sensation of weight in the anal region are important alerts that should not be ignored. If these manifestations occur, it's essential to seek specialized medical evaluation to prevent more serious damage. Hemorrhoids also deserve special attention in this context. Inadequate anal sexual practice can aggravate or trigger this problem, causing intense discomfort and potential complications. People with genetic predisposition or history of hemorrhoids need to be even more cautious, adopting techniques that minimize the risk of pressure and trauma in the region. To reduce these risks, some strategies are fundamental. Starting the practice extremely gradually, respecting the limits of one's own body, is the first step. Slow movements, with frequent pauses for muscle relaxation, can prevent microtraumas and significant discomfort. Communication between partners emerges as an essential tool in this process. Expressing sensations, requesting pauses or interruption when necessary, doesn't represent fragility, but maturity and self-care. Each body reacts in a unique way, and respecting these singularities is crucial for a safe sexual experience. Positions that reduce direct pressure on the sphincter can also be strategic. Allowing the receptive partner to have greater control over movement, choosing comfortable angles and depths, minimizes risks of injuries. The idea is not to limit pleasure, but to enhance it with responsibility. If any discomfort occurs during the practice, the recommendation is to stop immediately. Intense pain, sensation of tearing or bleeding are clear signs that something is not adequate. In these situations, it's fundamental to take a pause, carefully, evaluate the situation, and, if necessary, seek medical guidance. Healthy sexuality presupposes respect, care, and knowledge. Understanding potential risks doesn't mean creating barriers, but promoting practices that preserve physical and emotional well-being. Each sexual experience should be permeated by safety, consent, and mutual pleasure. Erectile function. Erectile function plays a fundamental role in anal sex, requiring a deeper understanding than simply maintaining an erection. Unlike vaginal sex, anal penetration requires a more robust and sustained erection due to the natural resistance of the sphincter and the need for more controlled movement. Many individuals face challenges related to erectile function, whether caused by sexual anxiety, stress, medical conditions, or simply nervousness in the face of a less conventional sexual practice. Erectile dysfunction can generate frustration and insecurity, directly impacting the sexual experience and self-esteem. Erection problems don't represent an insurmountable obstacle, but a challenge that can be managed with knowledge and appropriate approach. There are various strategies to deal with this condition, such as relaxation techniques, open communication with the partner, and in some cases, specialized medical monitoring. Alternative positions can be fundamental for individuals with erectile difficulties. Allowing the partner to have greater control of movement, choosing comfortable angles and depth, can minimize pressure on the penetrating partner. The idea is not to limit pleasure, but to adapt it to individual needs. Modern treatments offer multiple possibilities for those facing erectile dysfunction. Medications, behavioral therapies, muscle strengthening exercises, and even psychological approaches can significantly contribute to improving sexual performance. Communication emerges as an essential tool in this process. Sharing insecurities, fears, and limitations with the partner doesn't represent weakness, but sexual maturity. Building an environment of trust where both feel comfortable expressing their needs can completely transform the intimate experience. Understanding that sexuality goes far beyond physical performance is crucial. Sexual pleasure involves emotional connection, mutual respect, and acceptance of the particularities of each body. Each individual possesses a unique sexual journey, and this diversity should be celebrated and respected. The pursuit of sexual pleasure doesn't need to be a competition or a performance challenge. It should be a shared experience of discovery, affection, and connection, where physical limitations are not obstacles, but opportunities for creativity and intimacy. Preparation and communication. Preparation and communication become crucial elements to transform anal sex into a safe and pleasurable experience. Consent is not just a nice word, but a fundamental principle that should be celebrated and respected in any intimate encounter. Before any physical contact, it's essential to create an environment where both partners feel completely at ease to express their desires, limits, and concerns. The construction of this space of openness begins long before the sexual moment. Talking openly about expectations, fears, and curiosities can significantly reduce anxiety. Some couples choose to have these conversations in non-sexual moments where they are relaxed and without pressure, allowing each one to feel truly heard and respected. Creating a comfortable atmosphere involves more than words. The physical environment also matters. Soft lighting, pleasant temperature, calm music, or absence of sounds that may generate distraction are elements that contribute to a climate of intimacy and safety. The idea is to build a space where both feel protected to explore their vulnerabilities. Hygiene is also part of this preparation. Joint shower, moments of affection, and caresses that precede the act can be powerful strategies to relax bodies and minds. This period of connection not only increases desire, but also allows partners to feel closer and more confident. Establishing communication signals during the sexual act is equally important. A gesture, a previously agreed word, can mean, "let's pause," or "this is not comfortable." These prior combinations eliminate any embarrassment at the moment of practice, and ensure that both can stop at any instant without judgments. Respecting a no or a request for a pause doesn't mean failure, but a demonstration of care and maturity. Healthy sexuality presupposes that no partner will be pressured beyond their limits. Each body has its own history, its own speed, and its own limits. Communication after the act is also fundamental. Talking about what was good, what could be different, what sensations were experienced strengthens the connection and allows mutual learning. This honest exchange transforms the sexual experience into a journey of shared discovery and growth. The key to safe and pleasurable anal sexual practice resides in communication, mutual respect, and genuine desire to provide well-being to the partner. Each intimate encounter is a unique opportunity for connection, where care and consideration should always be in the foreground. Conclusion. We've reached the moment to close our conversation about anal sex, recapitulating the fundamental points that can transform this practice into a safe and pleasurable experience. Knowledge is not just power, but also protection. Each detail addressed, from anatomy to hygiene care, represents a step toward a more conscious and respectful sexuality. We invite you to reflect on this information, share it with close people, and mainly, view sexuality as a territory of discoveries, where respect for one's own body and for the partner's body is the main fuel for truly gratifying intimate moments.